سيدنا رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه وعلى أما بعد. So inshallah today we'll start an important series talking about the four Imams. And today we'll be talking about Imam Abu Hanifa. And I'd like to start with a question. I see many youth here. How many of you would like to be like Imam Abu Hanifa? Anybody? Want to be like Imam Abu Hanifa? That's great. There's a sister. There's a brother. Can you be like Imam Abu Hanifa? Think it's possible? Try? Okay. So, before I start talking about Imam Abu Hanifa, I'd like to make some introductory remarks. What is Imam? Some people say Imam is equivalent to a pastor or a priest. Is that true? You're saying no. Can you elaborate? Imam is a leader. Okay. So in Islam we don't have a priesthood. In Islam there is no priesthood. Accordingly, there are no religious titles in Islam. Some people mix between Christianity and Islam. In Christianity there is a religious hierarchy. There are religious titles. There is a pope, there is the pastor, there is a priest, there is the archbishop, and so on and so forth. None of that exists in Islam. There is no clergy structure in Islam. There are titles that are used by scholars, so we can call them scholarship titles. For example, if they say Al-Hafiz ibn Kathir. Now Al-Hafiz here is a title used by scholars of hadith to refer to a person who has reached a certain level of authority in the science of hadith. Or there is the title of Al-Hakim. This is another title in the science of hadith. So a person who have mastered the knowledge of hadith. Some of them said somebody who memorized, I think if I remember, 10,000 hadith would be entitled to the title of Hafiz, and so on and so forth. So to start with, I want to make it clear that the term Imam is not a religious title. And literally speaking, Imam means the lead person. Anybody who leads is an Imam. So we were praying today, and Brother Ala was leading us. So he was the Imam for 10 minutes. Is he an Imam now? He's not an Imam anymore, but he was the Imam for 10 minutes. So Imam is a lead person, a person who other people follow. So if we are talking in the Salat context, in the prayer context, the person who leads people in Salah is an Imam. And if we are talking in a political context, an Imam would be the leader of a nation. But Imam is not a religious title. This is important to remember. Now among scholars we find this title commonly used: Imam Abu Hanifa, Al-Imam Al-Ghazali, Al-Imam Ibn Taymiyyah, and so on and so forth. Now within this context, this title is used to mean that this scholar was such an outstanding figure in Islamic knowledge that he is a leader in terms of knowledge, a leader in terms of his character and personality. So I'd like to repeat this again. Imam is not a religious title. Now why four? We are saying the four imams. And who are these four imams? Can somebody tell me who are these four imams? Who are they? Imam al-Shafi'i is one of them, okay. Imam Malik, Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, Abu Hanifa. So somebody might come and say, you only had four imams, four scholars, 1400 years, and you only had four imams, four scholars? How do you respond to that? Why do we say the four imams? The four imams. Why not the six? Why not the five? Why not the 10? Why the four? What's so special about these four? They are notable, okay.
They have different fiqhs.
They have different fiqh, okay. Well, certainly these were not the only scholars in our Islamic history. There were thousands upon thousands upon thousands of great scholars. But these four were so outstanding, and they had such a lasting impact that they became to be known as the four imams and the founders of four schools. Now there is also another reason why these four imams became such an important figures in Islamic history. Imam Shafi'i, and we'll be talking about him in another session, traveled to Egypt. First he traveled to Medina, and in Medina he met Imam Malik ibn Anas, and then he traveled to Egypt, and in Egypt he met the students of Imam al-Layth ibn Sa'ad. How many of you have ever heard about Imam al-Layth ibn Sa'ad? Now, Imam al-Layth ibn Sa'ad was at the same caliber as Imam Abu Hanifa, as Imam Malik, as Imam al-Shafi'i. In fact, Imam al-Shafi'i says that Imam al-Layth ibn Sa'ad was even more knowledgeable than Imam Malik. But he is not as well known as the other four imams. And he explains why. He says that his students failed him, meaning that his students failed to record his knowledge, disseminate it, and spread it around. So Imam ibn Sa'ad was not as fortunate as the other imams to have the kind of students who recorded, elaborated, and disseminated his knowledge. Similarly, another scholar of the same caliber, Imam al-Awza'i, who was in Lebanon. And also another imam known as Imam al-Tabari, who they consider of the same profile or of the same caliber. So these were not, first of all, the only scholars or the only imams, and they were not in their caliber or in their category. They were not the only ones. There were others who were at the same caliber, who had the same distinguished knowledge and were seen by people as outstanding scholars. Imam al-Awza'i was one of them, and Imam al-Layth ibn Sa'ad was